Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the art studio. It's so good to see you this Monday morning as we talk about what is going on at the Liberty and the Plattwood studio for the third week of December. So that seems a little weird because some of you guys, remember, are a little bit behind. Our week started on Thursday because that was the first of the month. So my Thursday, my Friday kiddos are beginning their week 3, but my videos always happen on Mondays. I know, it's weird. If you were in a Monday or a Tuesday class, just go ahead and refer back to last week's video to find out what your kids are doing in their second class. And then you'll know kind of ahead of time what's coming on for next week, which is your third week. And it gets a little crazy when we ever start months that aren't on a Monday. But it's just kind of how it works around here. We're going to talk a little bit later in the video about the December schedule. So if you're confused about when your class meets, hang tight. That's coming up in the housekeeping. So on that note, even if you're a Monday, Tuesday class and you're like, I don't need to watch this, we're not even in week 3, go ahead and at least click through to housekeeping. So if you're catching the the recording, if you're catching it live, you're just kind of stuck with me. But watch the housekeeping stuff because that does have to do what's going on in this week. All right. So let's get started. We'll dive right in and talk about what's happening in those multimedia classes. So these are our artists actually up this way out in Plattwoods, and they're hanging out in the lounge and they're working through that watercolor lesson. We spent our first week just playing with watercolors, and then the last week and this week are going to be putting those projects together so that our fourth week can just be fun arts and PJs and hot chocolate stations. So if you are in your third week of classes for our K1 or our second, third, you guys are working on building out those totems. You should have a couple of them already done on your artwork from week 2. And our goal this week in the third week is actually to finish building all of our totems and getting them matted, getting the artist statement written on the back, getting an artwork signed, and sending it home. If it doesn't happen this week, it's okay. Every artist works at a different pace. We still have week 4. We just know that our attendance is lower during that week between Christmas and New Year's. And so we try to get it done in week 3. So that way we can just have fun in week 4. So our 4th and 5th and our homeschool classes are actually doing a collage watercolor project. And the reason we collage in watercolors is to prevent that bleeding that happens in watercolors when you have a subject and then you have a background and you paint the two and then they bleed together and you're like, what just happened? So we actually paint those two things separately and then we'll put it all together in a collage. So they're going to do this week getting everything put together. They should have their vase done. They should have most of their flowers done. And now it's just assemblage and possibly some little detail work. We'll bring in some of the lessons that we had in November with ink and line, and they'll get to add some inking details as well. My older kids, which is the middle school, high school classes, the 6th, 7th grade class, the 8th through 12th grade class, those kiddos are working in positive and negative space. They painted their backgrounds in week 1. Last week, they spent a lot of time figuring out their subject matter and getting it on the paper and washing the negative space background with a glaze. This week, they're going to add in all those fun line details, and we'll start to see those subject matters really pop. Again, they should take their projects home. If they don't, it's okay. We'll have the 4th week to do it. My drawing kiddos last week did ribbons for realistic and for drawing 101. This week they work from imagination. So remember, we have kind of 3 main ways that we draw. We draw from photograph, we draw from still life, which is what you're seeing in this picture here, and then we draw from references that we have in our brain, like our imagination. So this week is our imagination lesson. They're going to be drawing stacks of presents. This is a really great lesson for our young ones as they start to understand how you sit an object on top of another object, how you draw that so it looks like it's sitting instead of floating. How do you put one present and put another present in front of it or another present behind it? And so we'll draw some of those things. They'll get to work with pattern and line as they figure out their wrapping paper, their ribbons, their bows, and all the great details. They'll work with ink, markers, and possibly colored pencils if they're not really into the inking. And my older kids, this is a really great time for our 102 realistic to get a perspective lesson. The last time we touched on that was during our October when we did haunted houses and we did 1 and 2 point perspective. They'll get to use 1 and 2 point perspective again, or a refresher course if they've lost it all, or if they haven't seen it, they missed that night, we'll get to spiral back around and get back into 1 and 2 point perspective to get the sides of the box. So for those of you who don't know what that is, I brought an illustration. This is my HP Instant Ink box that I just have laying around here in the office. And I wanted to show you. So when we draw presents with the 101 kids, we're going to draw this. See, like it's a box. 1, 2, 3, 4. When we draw presents with our 102 kids, we're going to draw this. Because now I can see, I'm trying to get it so it's like, it's hard on camera, like tip it, there we go, I got it. Now you can see the top, the front, and the side, and all those great angles. So this is actually 2-point perspective. 1-point perspective is, let me see if I can get the angle right with the green screen. Which way does it kind of go? It would be, sorry, rotating is hard. It would be this. See how we've got the side, but these are still 90-degree angles. That's 1-point perspective. So it's a little bit tricky on the camera, but 2-point perspective is when we rotate the whole thing and nothing is a 90-degree angle. 1-point perspective is when we keep it flat and we just move it off to the side. There it is. Okay, so these stay 90-degree angles, but this one doesn't. It goes, these two lines go back to a vanishing point. So that's 1-point perspective. So they'll work with 1- and 2-point perspective to build their stacks of presents, and they'll get to do all the other inking details that we do in 101. My comic and anime drawers, they did hands last week. They're moving on to feet. And with our feet lesson, we end up with a lot of footwear because it's rare that we draw bare feet. So we'll still do the skeletal structure of the foot so you can understand what what you're drawing inside a shoe and where it bends, right? Our feet don't bend in all different directions. They only bend in certain spots, just like all the other joints in our body. So we'll talk about the bones, the structure, the anatomy of it. We'll do a little bit of drawing of bare feet, but then most of it will be on footwear. So that way they can incorporate that into their characters. Moving along, let's talk about these preschool kids. So preschool kiddos in their 3rd week, which is their last week, in their 3rd week are going to be finishing this winter landscape project that we've been working on all month. So the first week we did the watercolor backgrounds with the salt that made the really fun crystals. Then we did the tissue paper collage and cut them into tree shapes. And this week we add everything gets put together if you don't already have it together. I'm trying to think, I think Liberty already glued their trees down. But the final touch is snow paint. So we're going to be mixing up a mixture of shaving cream, white school glue, and glitter. And it makes this puffy paint that dries puffy, and so we call it snow paint. So they'll paint that onto their picture. They can paint it on the ground. They can put it up in the sky as a puffy paint. And then we've got sequins and gems and, of course, more shakeable glitter to be able to put on it. So that'll finish their artwork that they've been working on all month. Then they're going to read the snowy day, which is another reason why we've got the snow paint out. They'll get to do some snow paint in their journals. And then I think our project, I don't know how Nancy and Sarah will do it. They'll either do the project as the snow project time, or they'll do the arrival as the snow. But the other thing we're doing is making keepsake ornaments. So we've got, they're not in my office anymore. They used to be large globe plastic ornaments. They're 5-inch ornaments. And then we have all sorts of like fun, glitzy, I don't know, holiday fillers. And so you just go through this smorgasbord and fill your ornament. And it's almost like a seek and find little treasure hunt. And everything gets put back together with a ribbon. So they'll have a plastic globe filled with whatever custom filler they've put in it for their project to take home. So that will be their week 3 lesson. I did include a picture over here this way. You can see the cookie dough, like cookie baking Play-Doh station has been, and it always is, it's a huge hit in December. So later this week on social media, I've got the recipe posted, as well as a link to the sugar cookie scent that we use to make the Play-Doh. So if you want that, you can watch social media this week. And if for some reason you don't have social media or you can't find it or whatever, let me know and I'll shoot it over your way. Okay. I was going to put it in the slideshow, but I was running behind this morning. All right, couple housekeeping notes for you. The first thing we need to talk about, because it's coming up quick, is the December schedule. Like, you guys are going to need to know this. So if you were in preschool classes, so either the preschool fundamentals, that 90-minute class, my shirt's disappearing into the green screen because it's kind of a green shirt. So if you're in preschool fundamentals or in toddlers and you come to class with us, you need to pay attention to this so you know. Thursday classes, this is your last week. We will see you in January. After this week, we'll see you in January, assuming you're signed up. Friday classes, same thing. Come this week. We'll see you in January. Assuming you're signed up. Make sure you signed up. Monday classes, you are obviously going to class today, but then you still go to class one more week. You go next week. Tuesday class is the same thing. You'll go to class tomorrow. And then your last class is next Tuesday. And then we'll see all of you guys in January, okay? Because the preschool classes only meet 3 times a month, and that's why it's a little bit different. I've got also the same kind of thing here for my multimedia and drawing students. So my Tuesday or my Thursday class is first. You meet this week for week 3. That's what this video is. Your 4th week is December 29th. That's 2 weeks away. So don't come on the 22nd because the doors will be locked, right? This week and the 29th. My Monday kiddos, you're going to come this week, tonight. You're going to come next week. And then you're going to come on the 28th. And that's really confusing. If you're a visual person, go back to last week's video. There's actually a calendar graphic that you can look at. Just, click on December schedule and scroll till you see it in the thumbnail. All right. So you come this week, you come next week, and you come the following week, which is that week between Christmas and New Year's. But it's not on a Monday. It's on a Wednesday. And that's just because Miss Allison didn't want to do anything the day after Christmas. So Tuesday, people, you come this week, you come next week, and you come the 27th. All those are Tuesdays. Your schedule doesn't change. It's all those days. All right. These 3 dates, the 27th, 28th, and 29th are our art and PJ nights. And they are super chill and low key. You don't need to RSVP. You don't need to register. You don't need to tell us if you're going to miss it. You don't need to do a makeup unless you don't finish your project on week 3. Nothing. Like, it's just art stations. Actually, we had a lot of fun coming up with some art stations last night when we were here decorating. So we got art stations. We got hot chocolate for you. And you wear your pajamas. Okay. All right. Housekeeping stuff. Make sure you sign up for your spring semester of classes. Still getting people who ask me. Don't forget, because come January, if you just show up and you haven't signed up, there may not be a spot for you. So please make sure you sign up for those classes. Nobody is auto-enrolled for January. Nobody is auto-enrolled for January. You have to physically go into the website and register, just like you did back in August. Okay. All right. And then this is just the art and PJs note. So the week between Christmas and New Year's is art and PJs and hot cocoa for the drawing and multimedia kids. So that includes homeschool too, because you're a multimedia and a drawing class, but not preschool because you don't have classes that week. All right. That's everything I have for you here in the 3rd week of December. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. I hope that it is awesome and amazing and you're getting all your Christmas stuff done. I know I am. So I will see you guys next Monday.